All right, hey, welcome to the Paranormal Goes Bump in the Night. So this panel is all about paranormal romance, spicy smut, and everything in between. During this 11 o'clock hour, we have three authors speaking and reading, and in the reading lounge, we have H.L. Brooks. At 11:10, taking over. Crush wants to thank the Sexy Symbol Podcast for sponsoring today's panel. If you're looking for a couple of ladies who know how to shake things up, these are your gals. All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ranch, and we've got with me here Stacia Kaywood, and we've got Micca Michaels. And I think at some point Kay Rose will join us. I'm hoping. Is she here? Is Kay anywhere in the room?
Not that I see.
Oh, man. Well, I guess I could help you guys answer some questions uh, since I write paranormal too sometimes. So
And I got it.
I think between the three of us, we're talkers, right? Station, we probably talk.
Hmm.
So who inspires your paranormal stories? Is anybody in particular?
For me,
Hmm.
it's a mix.
Yeah.
Um, I have an alpha and beta team,
Hmm.
and they they're really good with. Um, I have this idea, and they're like, "Oh, do tell."
Hmm.
You know. As for authors, though, I would have to say Elizabeth Knight. She's my biggest inspiration,
Okay.
and she's the reason why I write.
Mine kind of goes back to when I was in, I think it was middle school, and I read this book, and I was trying to find the title of it. I did, but it was a ghost who was in a lake, and there was the house, and there was a young girl, and it started my obsession with paranormal romance and that kind of thing. And of course, Jane Eyre was the book that inspired everything.
I kind of get that one from you. Let's see. Now, what other authors have inspired you as far as writing the paranormal? I mean, Jane Eyre obviously is historical, and I know you write both of those things, but
Well, but she's paranormal too.
oh, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking of something else. Jeez.
Pride and Prejudice, probably.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Do you create worlds or stay within the modern confines of the paranormal aspect?
Both.
I'm mostly modern, with
Mhm.
some twists to make it my own little world and my own creatures and my own backgrounds. So,
I've
Yeah.
not done the creature creation yet. Not at least not in my scope of thinking. I haven't. I've used um, different creatures, but I would say ones that have already been pretty much previously developed.
Mhm.
Unicorns, mermen. Uh, my most popular one that I use is the dire wolf, which did exist at one time, but is extinct because I have a fascination with them. So, but other than that, I haven't created one yet. Um, as for authors that got me into this, I would have to say Nora Roberts, Suzanne Wright, Lane Witt,
Mhm.
AC Cat, um, are just amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was I was really big into horror. My favorites still, honestly, wish I'd written this down because I didn't think about it. Clive Barker's a big one for me, to be honest, because he just opens up a lot of gateways and a lot of worlds. There's a lot of mystery and a lot of eroticism in his work, even though he's not necessarily considered an erotic author. I mean, you can't get past a lot of that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
sexuality there. And in my writing, particularly with Violations, I go from to the beginning of history when man was created all the way to the modern days and stuff like that. So I don't really stick to one time frame, and it's hard to really. I mean, when you've got creatures that could be timeless or ageless, it's easy to jump. It's easy to you've got these ageless characters like vampires or demons or succubus that could just be around whenever. It's pretty exciting when you think about the fact that it's limitless. You know what I mean? So, are there lores that you like to prefer to write in?
I mostly dabble in ghosts, right? So you've read with Haunting Jasmine, and then the new one, The Mystery of Saint Xavier's Point. I kind of like that, the spiritual aspects with ghosts and kind of not understanding like dimensions and where we are with beings
Mhm.
that are with us and not, so that's kind of what I like to explore.
Yeah.
I won't say I do. I write lores. I do like to create my own, like prophecy type stories and things like that. I am working on a retelling. So I guess if you were going to take a lot of those types of books and put them together in one, I have done that, or I am doing that. But as for lores, I don't like being predictable at all. I love when a reader messages me and says, well, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. I did my job.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. Do you like to dabble into the horror aspect of things, or do you I mean, is paranormal just an idea that flows into the story?
no, usually it's full based on paranormal realm. I am. Everybody likes to tease that I am the lighter side of paranormal.
Yeah.
So I am working on discovering my dark side.
Yeah.
Um, I do have some works in progress that they're taking me to a place I've never been before. So
Hmm.
it's taking me a minute to adjust to the darkness of it.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, I like it because I don't even know where it's going. I'm not a plotter. I can't outline. I get an idea and I go. And that's just how it is. It just goes.
Right.
I develop my characters as I'm going. I develop my world as I'm going, and I wing it.
Yeah.
So, but it's always even the one I've written one book that is considered contemporary, but it doesn't end that way. It ends on a paranormal twist. And then I wrote a short novella that is fully 100% contemporary. And it was hard because I prefer paranormal where there are no rules. The world is what I make of it. So that's why I will probably always tend to stay to the paranormal. Lighter or dark side, I'll explore, and whatever comes out, comes out.
So I see a question in the comments here that really strikes to your response. What part of the darkness bothers you to write about?
Um, I'm not going to say it bothers me to the point of like you would think. It's more, it makes me examine where my own head can go, where
Yeah.
my own headspace is.
Hmm.
Um, and I do suffer from mental illness. I do suffer from, depression and stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm almost afraid of where I could possibly end up going.
Certainly, yeah.
So I limit myself, and I'm trying to not do that. And to get myself past that, I'm actually editing a book for someone who, it is a horror. It is completely outside of my realm of comfort.
Mhm.
But it's also at the same time helping me discover different ideas and open up to go, okay, it's okay to read about this. It's not going to stick in my head. It's not, I can have a palate cleanser and go back to my work. And I've noticed I've started to be able to go to the darker side. I did postpone. I had a release coming up next month. No, yeah, next month, 5 Fractures. And it was dark in every way you can think of, psychologically, everything. And it just got very overwhelming for me. And I had to take a step back for my own mental health. So right now, I would say that is what is my limitation, is my comfort with where my own mind can go.
Yeah, it can be tough. I mean, honestly, I write a lot of really dark stuff, even in the non paranormal stuff that I write. There's a lot of subject matter that it's hard to understand and hard to get. So yeah, I can totally see that the depression can take over in the things that you write and what you read.
Oh, may I answer Amanda's question about
Yeah, yeah. I was
keeping
just about to
track?
ask.
So I have an amazing reader. I was old fashioned and I was doing everything by notebook.
Oh my, you've got a Bible. That's good.
And it's for me to fill out. And I have 20 of them, and there's 50 characters
Yeah,
per. And I can write everything about them: their name, their gender, their education level. Do they have pets? Do they have scars? What kind of relationships they have with their parents? It's full developmental. And it's actually helping me to stay a little bit more organized and not get so scatterbrained when all of a sudden a new character pops in, because I'm going, oh, crud.
right.
And the one thing you'll notice, Amanda, if you read my stuff, is
Mhm.
that nothing about my characters is typical. I don't always do brown eyes and blue eyes, and I have red eyes and amethyst, and I don't like being predictable.
Right. So, Stacia, do you create your own creatures?
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with hunting Jasmine. He
Mhm.
seems like a ghost, but the evil villain, right? The big bad. I
Mhm.
call him a soul snatcher. It's just kind of creating the lore about what a soul snatcher is and how it works and making it work in my world. Um, and creating something a little bit based on what is out there, but making it my own twist. So, in order to have that happily ever after.
Right. Yeah. It's sometimes a lot easier to come up with your own kind of twists on old characters or old ideas like vampires or werewolves and making them your own. I think that's where a lot of our new writers you know like the Twilight vampires and everything else. I mean, that was a completely different spin, right? So I mean, we've it's a new spin on an old world. My screen just went black here.
Right.
Mika, do you have you created your own characters, creatures as well? Is that something you really?
No, I mean, I do have a couple of things in the works, but it's not anything newly created.
Mhm.
Everything that all the creatures I use I'm going to say, have been heard of before.
Yeah.
I haven't created anything particularly new.
Mhm.
Um,
Recording in
altered
progress.
Okay.
altered them a little bit. But other than that, no, not
Yeah.
created.
How do you feel about unlimited powers or
Oh
flaws?
no, no, I don't like it.
Don't like it?
um, they, my characters have to have um,
Um,
flaws. They've just got to have flaws.
Mhm.
Um, because to me, if a character has unlimited power, what are you going to do with them? They can do anything they want to do.
Yeah.
So I prefer, if they're going to be all powerful, that's awesome, but they're going to have flaws.
Yeah.
They're going to have a weakness. Something's going to um, be able to breach their shell.
Right. How about you, Phil? How do you feel about that, Station?
I I definitely have flaws in my characters because unlimited powers is kind of boring.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of like the Mary Sue thing. I think Mike had a question for me too.
Oh, Mike. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Um, just got to scroll up here without going too fast.
Yeah, because I got kicked off.
Did you?
You know
Okay.
what?
How rude.
I know. I'm like, hello.
It was
That's
about Stacia's belief in ghosts.
What's your belief on ghosts?
That's right. Okay. Yeah, because I was like, it was something relevant. I absolutely believe in ghosts. I've actually had with ghosts. That's a huge probably why I picked them over everybody else. Um, because to me it's personal. And they do exist. So now why don't I make it something where I can interact with them and everything else?
Yeah, you've written some stuff for the agency magazine just about ghost stories that you've experienced. Some blog entries. You can tell us a little bit about that.
oh, I think she got booted again.
Yeah, booted again. Yeah. She. Let's see if she can come back.
I
There
noticed
she
she
is.
was. I
There
noticed she
she
was
is.
freezing. There she is.
All right. So what I asked Stacia is if you can tell us a little bit about the blog that you've been writing for Agency Magazine about your ghost stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that blog.
Oops.
What in the world is going on?
There'd be internet bandwidth problems in Missouri.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
blaming the state
probably
of
having
Missouri for that.
internet drops.
Yeah, could
She
be.
was freezing. She was freezing.
Oh,
In
we
Mhm.
that.
do have a question. In your romances, are shape shifting involved? Is there an internal conflict, like controlling their second nature all the time, and how normally you focus on the creative element?
Yeah, they do. They do shift.
Yeah.
Um, I won't say that my characters have an internal struggle between their human side and their shifting side.
Mhm.
There is I would say, internal monologue of, um, okay, this needs to calm down. My wolf is very aggravated, or, things like that, just describing the internal battle that there is. But I wouldn't say it's a battle as for who has control or anything like that, at least not yet.
Right. For me, when I write characters that shift, I've written one short story about a werewolf, and it was all about his internal struggle to not change all the time, and the fact that he did change when he didn't expect it. And I know that that goes against the moon and other mythos and stuff like that, but it's just something that he had to learn to control as he grew older. And as he got romantically inclined with someone, once he got, you know, a little bit excitable, he could change. And it turned into a transgressive type story to the point where, the hornier or, the more excited he got, the rowdier he got. And she had to tame him using, lead instead of silver. Um, so yeah, I
And see,
mean,
mine are all by choice.
yeah.
I don't do the lure of the moon and that kind of thing. Mine is, if they want to change, they change. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that. I like that angle too. I think you should be able to, quote unquote, superhero it up and transform whatever you want.
mm,
But I think that it doesn't take anything away from the characters at all when you have that. But I think when the fear and the danger of a werewolf, having to pay attention to the cycles of the moon and having to pay attention to what he's, involved in that night, I think it adds an extra element of surprise.
oh, it absolutely does. But that's where some readers don't understand that there is a difference when you're an author and you're writing.
Mhm.
There's a difference between wear and shifter.
That's true.
There is a
That's true.
categorical difference.
Mhm.
Where tend to do the lore thing and shift with the moon or high emotions or that kind of thing, where shifters tend to have full control.
Yeah.
Um, maybe once or twice or whatever in their livelihood, things have not been in control, like when they reached a certain age of maturity or
Mhm.
ascension or something like that. But that's where I think a lot of readers get confused on, well, if this author had them doing it by the moon, then why are yours doing it by choice? Well, hers or his are wear and mine are shifters. They're different categorically.
Yeah.
And I just
I
saw a
misspeak a lot on that
question.
stuff, to be honest.
I saw a question on Dire Secrets is a trilogy, but there is a spinoff. Jack's book will be coming out hopefully in December of this year. Shh, I didn't say that. My PA doesn't even know that, know that I'm planning that. But it will be under the Dire Secrets series, but it will be an official spinoff for Jack having her own book. No, 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 Mary, Sonia, shh, nobody's telling nobody. My 50th birthday is coming, and I really want to do a release. And I've been getting a lot of questions about the teaser at the end of Dire Consequences. So there we go.
So Tiny asked, with erotica being involved, how do you categorize it?
Um, my books, I well, all except for only in Vegas. The rest, all of the other books, I categorize as paranormal. Why choose with spice?
Mhm.
Only in Vegas is erotica. It's just 100%. It's 97% smut and 3% plot, and that plot is them changing positions. As a middle-aged woman, I get a little frustrated always reading books with these young, viral, beautiful women having their fantasy. And I'm like, well, you know what? I might be almost 50, but I have desires, wants, needs, and fantasies too.
For sure.
So I decided to write a novella. And that's all it is the female main character is almost 50,
Mhm.
and she learned that she could rent a harem in Vegas.
Yeah.
And we know the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So I named it Only in Vegas. Well, it's been such a hit. I now have other onlys in work, only in Reno, only in Seaside Heights, only in Bangkok, there's a ton of them. Those will most likely be the most contemporary only spice books I write.
I think Stacia came back. I see her now. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
sorry about that.
Huh?
I guess it's like Microsoft, it's just taking over.
Yeah.
To use
I, I,
erotica as a
I wish I'd seen you come
no,
back.
no. Tiny, I do not. I do the only book, only one of my books that have any kind of erotica in being in that section on Amazon is only in Vegas. The rest of them do not.
I think when you were last here, Stacia, I was asking the unlimited powers or flaws. Is that right?
Actually, you were asking me about my series that I was writing about the true ghost stories.
Oh yes, yes. Tell me about that.
So these are all based on my experiences because I've had several of them. And actually, what's interesting is I'm going to be interviewed for a podcast on this. So talking about my real life experiences. And I talk about when I was pregnant with my son and some crazy happenings where I got to see all sorts of things like auras, and actually had a ghost encounter where I saw a shadow person. And I talk about my crazy ghost hunting adventures when I had to talk some German and actually got to use German for once, and had an insane encounter. So highly recommend you all read that if you're into true life ghost stories, because that all actually did happen.
Yeah. Yeah, those are still on Medium for now. And I'm sure you'll probably have them on your website at some point.
Mhm.
That's the goal. So we were just talking about this because I always mix them up, Micca. So shifter versus wear. I'm a wear person.
And I'm a shifter
You're
person.
a shifter person. Stacey,
Mhm.
do you have a
Because I haven't yet started dabbling with shifter and wear.
uh,
I was really listening into what Micca was saying because that really kind of made it more understandable.
mhm,
Because to me, I always think of shifters as like really evil, awful, horrible things.
mhm,
Because I think of skinwalkers,
yeah.
and like that's what sticks in my head. Um, but I thought that was very interesting. Whereas the wear is the more the lore, whereas the shifter is more less of the rules.
Mhm,
And I have a lot of friends who write shifter romance.
mhm.
And now I kind of see what the difference is. So I actually found it a huge educational moment. So thanks for that.
Good.
And see with that, I'm gonna go opposite of you, Stacia, and I'm gonna say I always saw wares as being the dark evil ones because they have no self control.
Right.
So I can see where you're coming from. And I'm glad maybe I shed a little bit of light on the shifter side. But when you're someone like me who has I have control issues, I like being in control of my environment and everything else. I don't think I have the bandwidth to write something where outside elements would be controlling what my characters do. I prefer them to control themselves. So, I mean,
I think it just adds an element of the storytelling that can make it more difficult for the characters. And I think putting your characters through hell is the most important part of your job. It should be.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm
And
also a
and so
transgressive fiction writer too, so I mean, I enjoy putting them through hell. So,
exactly.
uh,
And to go with what everybody's saying is that that's what I thought. So I have been I've changed my mind. So don't think that I'm arguing with Micca. I absolutely agree with what she's saying. And so I'm not arguing. I agree. I hadn't thought of that before. So I think it's
I
interesting.
think a lot of our comments right now are it's about fantasy, it's about paranormal. You can do anything you want. I 100% agree with you. No one's ever wrong or right when it comes to
mm,
this kind of stuff. You can
yep,
just, you are a writer and you can do you can do what you want. And it's the gatekeepers and people like that that kind of get in the way. I mean, obviously, we don't need that. I've always been
no.
A no gatekeeper type of guy, you know.
I am a big I'm a big opponent about we don't gatekeep,
Yeah.
because it doesn't benefit anybody.
Yep.
It doesn't. If I can learn something from a new author coming in or a more experienced author than me, I am all for it.
Yeah.
And as the only thing I said, when it comes to rules with writing, to me, in my opinion, is contemporary writers. And I give them all the kudos in the world, because there's only so much you can do with that in the realm of keeping it contemporary, because contemporary is real life, so to speak. So you have earthbound rules and that kind of structure that you write in. And I find that really hard. So I give contemporary writers kudos for being able to do what they do, because my mind cannot like that. I can't. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I agree. It is tough to stay in reality when you want to write anything and everything you want to write about. I've got one more question, and then I'm going to open it up to the audience. Does that sound okay? This is going to be witches versus vampires.
Oh, well, I have to say, I kind of like my vampire dig. I blame Bram Stoker's Dracula, the movie version, and kind of love the hotness that is all about. So to me, vampires, always vampires.
Right. Right. Well, you, Micca?
I have to say both, because the Dire Secret series is witches with a touch of a vampire in there, here and there. But the Gilded Butterfly Chronicles is vampires and shifters. So I'm both. And yes, I am. I'm hardcore white shoes. I love for my characters to have multiple options of everything. Why go a little, go a lot? so for me, it's both.
For me, I like to read both. I stick with more vampires, basically, just because I write more vampires and I like to read more vampires. But I just don't, I think for me, the bandwidth to write about witches and the magic and all that stuff, I just don't have it in me just yet. I don't think I've really I've written some witches, but I don't think that I've given them enough justice. I don't know too much about the occult really to make it look good, to make it sound good. And I think that's on me as a writer, that I need to research more. My experience with witches are more of the fantasy, the dark. I mean, I was a huge D&D fan when I was a kid, obviously, and I still am. But I think that to get it right now, so that it's not one of the I don't want to come off like a CW TV show witch, when I could rather be an actual, terrifying but sexy witch. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm going to say, as a pagan,
Yeah.
longtime pagan, my books will probably always include witches, because of the fact that they always get such a bum rap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's really good witches out there.
Oh, yeah. 100% agree.
And they absolutely deserve love and adventure and that kind of thing. So I will probably always have them in my books.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, as I write paranormal, but I also write transgressive. So there's always going to be an element of horror in this, in some of the stuff that I write. So, but yeah, I love the sexy witch, but I also love the terrifying one too. All right, let's open up some questions. If anybody wants to, let me look here.
Phoebe has the question that caught my eye a second ago. Any thoughts on kitchen sink paranormal? Like, is there a point at which... Oops, I lost it. Oh my goodness. Which where did it go? Oh, putting too many shifters and things like that into one story. I don't think so. It's a balancing act, just like any other characters. I have never gotten a comment that has honestly told me that there's just too many different characters, or types of characters.
Mhm.
I've actually received messages the opposite way of, oh, it's refreshing that I was not expecting a unicorn, or, oh my God, it was a merman, not a mermaid, you know? So I like going, I just let my muse do whatever she wants to do. And there's more than one shifter, then there's more than one shifter.
If anybody has
What
any
is-
verbal comments or questions, go ahead and jump on. But Stacy, what's your comment? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just what is kitchen sink paranormal? What was that meaning?
Kitchen sink paranormal is you could refer to Dire Secrets as having kitchen sink paranormal. It's got a little bit of everything. There's witches, there's wolf shifters, there's phoenixes, there's a unicorn, there's a merman, there's a raven. There's a lot of different paranormal aspects to the same story. And it can be called kitchen sink. And I liked it with Dire Secrets. Right now, there's a debate going on. I really want to rewrite the trilogy. Yes, a leprechaun too. Yes, there is. Thank you, Mary. My longtime readers are saying no, don't rewrite it. Leave it as it is. I would still have the kitchen sink. But I think I would explain them more. So it wouldn't seem maybe not so jumbled. But I get a lot of compliments. I don't get that was, too much or overloaded or anything like that. So
No, that's just interesting. For me, I guess I could write that, but I kind of like just taking a story and having elements of it. And I think that's just kind of always that thinking of Jane Eyre, where you have this overarching story and then the little aspects of the paranormal. I like a sprinkling of things. So, but that's how I write. That doesn't mean that I don't think it should be done.
I have an
no, I
idea.
like that. I do. I like that idea. It's like it's like somebody who writes Omegaverse and writing a story that includes an Omega instead of the reverse happening, which is standard. So I actually think that's brilliant.
There is one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is our scavenger hunt word for this panel is fox. So if you're taking that down, forgot to mention that earlier. Does anybody have any other questions for our panel?
How you balance erotica in fantasy elements where you put them to bring their
Oh, I think she's asking about pacing. Or Nick is.
when it comes to slow burn, fast burn, that kind of thing, that's up to my characters. Dire Secrets is slow. Actually, I'll say all of them except for OIV, only in Vegas, are slow. Because I do like people to get to know the characters a little bit before they're just going hot and heavy.
Right.
But at the same time, there is a lot of hot and heavy in my books, and there's MM in my books. I don't limit what they do or who or how. I just write it. I feel like I'm my character's secretary, and I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, I kind of think you and I are a lot alike when it comes to pantsing, and I know that's a big deal for a lot of us.
Yeah, I like to. I don't force the characters into a scene, but I do love my spice.
Yeah,
So my it's where it goes in the scene. And I'm just like Micca and Ranch. I pants the whole thing, and I have no idea where the whole series is going to go, so don't ask.
right. It's tough, man. I'm not great at writing it down beforehand or planning it out. It's just the way it goes.
And Mike asked me another question. I I base my characters off of something that comes into my head, whatever it may be. I don't necessarily base them on somebody who's real. There are aspects of real people in them, or something that I find inspiration from a person's color of their eyes or their lips or something that helps inspire a story. But for the most part, they're whoever you want them to be. I leave it open-ended.
Now I do have a thing on my Discord where you can give me names of someone that and just the name, not descriptions, anything else, of someone that you would not mind seeing maybe unalived or tortured or something in a book, because that just helps me with names. But the name might be based off of a person, but other than that, no, they're completely made up.
It's about that time. I just wanted everybody to know. Thank you for spending this time with us. The next panel will be in about 15 minutes. It's about BDSM. So I know that's a big deal. Some of y'all. And also, we're going to have Leonora Solomon and Annie Barnes in the reading lounge. And she'll be actually Leonora will be there at 12, and at 12:35, Annie Barnes will be in the reading lounge. And make sure you got that word for your scavenger hunt. I already mentioned it once earlier.
And
But
for
yeah,
some
I
more
mean,
drugs.
what's that?
And for some more drugs.
Did
Copy.
anybody else have any other questions at all regarding the
Do I let
I
paragraph
left.
it's written?
I left.
fans make suggestions on characters? Yes.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I will happily, if for some reason there's a character that I cannot develop or my mind will not develop, I will happily go to, in my reader group, randomly select people or just put it up on, hey guys, I've got this character and so might be morally gray, whatever. I need more information about this. What do you guys think? What are your suggestions? What color hair? What color? So yes, I will. I won't say I do it a lot because of the control aspect, but I have done it and will do it.
It's actually kind of funny that I never had planned on writing anything paranormal, especially vampires or anything like that. That wasn't my goal. I actually did a Twitter survey, and I said, "What do you guys want to see?" And they were like, "Vampires." Well, shit! Now I got to write a vampire story, and now I have a little book, just mainly about vampires and history, and it's very darkly erotic. And but yeah, that's not something I planned, but hey, I went with it because I just listened to what my reader wants. So
The best things in life are not planned.
that's right.
At least I think so. And yes, I do. I ask for names on TikTok all the time. I'll be like, okay, I need 5 male names or whatever. And yeah, I will. I have no problem,
I'm
saying
the worst at naming people.
See, normally I love naming people, but
Uh-huh.
there are points where I go, okay, y'all, I need a Scottish name that would sound like it's 1,000 years old. Help me out here, you
Yeah.
know. And they just start throwing names at me, and I have two huge lists of um, uh, male names and female names, and so
Yeah.
yes,
Actually,
I
just
make the final choice.
I'll just send a quick text to Sunny Morgan and be like, "Hey," she'll send me a list of 3 or 4.
I use generators all the time. Fantasy name
So
generator. That's what
yeah,
I do.
it's bad, but it helps out. Oh, behindthename.com. I'll check it out for sure. I'm always looking for that.
Oh, I will definitely need to look that up.
Yeah. Baby name books are great. Quinn. Yeah, that's a good idea
Oh,
too.
yeah, baby name, yes, are really amazing, especially if you look up unique or rarely used
Mhm.
names. Those are great. They're great sites.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always important when you're naming characters, to figure out where they're from and there's always, like I'm hoping that backstory for a name would be great. Have you used a thesaurus?
Yes, I actually have a range of thesauruses down on my shelf. That's emotional thesaurus and trauma thesaurus, and I'm still collecting them. So
Oh,
yeah, I have like 5 of them. So yes, I do use them.
that's great. Wow. Let's see,
I've never heard of that one before.
the
The
Writer's
Writer's
Digest character.
Digest character naming. Huh.
I like the word source book. It kind of reminds me of the bookshelf I have over here with all the D&D.
I honestly think that's one thing that a lot of authors have in common, especially in the paranormal genre, is that we all play D&D.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was a DM, and many moons ago, of course, it's completely changed since. But I think that is definitely one that we we all have in common.
Right. I was terrible at naming D&D characters too. I mean, yeah. Well, it's time to move on. I need to let everybody know that well, yeah, I guess we've run out of time, everybody.
I guess we have.
Yeah.
Hey, make
Thank you
sure
everybody
we
for
announce
showing.
what's coming up next, Ranch.
I did that a few minutes ago.
He did.
Okay, great. All
Yeah.
right. Hope
Yeah.
you guys all stay around. I've got to kill in the recording now.
Yeah.